Tuberose is considered the carnal flower for a reason. It is a thick, heavy, voluptuous note that shows up in fragrances doing the most. You cannot miss it. If you love a tuberose fragrance, there is no mistaking it for anything else. It just stands out. It makes a statement, and the statement it's usually making, it's heavy, thick, sweet, creamy, and so delicious. So in today's video, I'm going to share 7 of my favorite tuberose fragrances in my collection. I'm not sharing all of them because we'll be here all day. I gotta keep it small, but I'll be back. I'll share more in the future, but today I have 7 for you that are easy reach, easy to find, affordable, lovely tuberose fragrances across the spectrum of fragrances out there. And I hope you enjoy this video, or at least learn something from it. Hi, I'm Jeanique, and the moment I smelled a tuberose fragrance for the first time, I knew it was the one. I knew we were meant to be together. Everything I want out of a fragrance, the smoothness, the sensuality, we find in tuberose fragrances because it is the carnal flower after all. There is something about the roundness, the fullness of it, the way it thickly sits on the skin, how creamy it is, how sometimes it can get over sweet. It's doing a little bit too much. It's a little bit extra, and it's not for everybody, but if it's for you, it is a lovely, beautiful direction to head down. So in today's video, I want to talk about some of the tuberose fragrances in my collection. Some of them are fresher, greener, lighter tuberose fragrances. Some of them are heavy as a motherfucker, and we're getting into it because we deserve to know all about the tuberoses out there because they're absolutely lovely.
Looks like I lost my favorite times.
Where we're starting with Lalique L'Amour. This is a little bit of a beauty right here. I wear this to work all the time. I love it as a daytime scent. It is a lot fresher in like the grand scheme of tuberose fragrances, but it is a whole vibe. So let's talk a little bit about this one. So what we have here is citrus in the opening, so really like fresh, bright, effervescent to start off. Now this is a greener, fresher, lighter tuberose fragrance. It is not as heavy and thick, so it works in the summer months as well. In the mid, we have the holy trinity of white florals, right? We have jasmine, gardenia, and tuberose all together, and they all bring their best selves. We have some green freshness from the jasmine, we have some sweetness from the gardenia, we have a little bit of thickness from the tuberose all together. In the base, we have some musk, we have some sandal, we have some cedar, some woodiness. They don't read very heavily. We really get that musk, a little bit of saltiness to it to get this really crisp, fresh white floral. This is really feminine, really beautiful, just really complimentary. There is nothing not to love about this one. Now, Lalique L'Amour is usually easy to find on discount websites for about 30 Canadian or about 20 to 25 US dollars, and it is a gem. Now, this is not going to make a bold statement. You're not going to wear this and think, oh my god, everybody thinks how avant-garde I am with my fragrances. That's not what it's giving. It's not giving any of that. What it's giving is soft, pretty femininity that is a little bit restrained, and I am absolutely obsessed with this for work, for daytime, because it reads so pretty. So get into Lalique L'Amour, yes, if you like a lighter, fresher tuberose fragrance and you're not looking for anything too heavy and you want to keep wearing that tuberose all through summer. Yes. So we get a little bit heavier with the next fragrance, but it is also still very much a classic gem, and it is Hugo Boss Deep Red. Look at it. It's a vibe. Now, this one is definitely a lot heavier than the last one, but it still brings in a lot of the similar elements in that we also have a very heavy citrus opening with this one. We have bitter orange here, which offers that bright freshness. You have a little bit of pear, a little bit of mandarin orange. So you're still getting a lot of citrus just like the last one. However, the citrus in this does have a bit more sweetness and personality because that bitter orange is doing its job. And I've talked a little bit about how much I love the tartness and the spring in the step of fragrances with bitter orange, and we get that here. Now in the mid, it's mostly a tuberose fragrance. It is a very heavy tuberose fragrance that is balanced out a little bit by a little bit of freesia. So instead of jasmine like the last one, we have a little bit of freesia, which doesn't have the sort of indolic elements of jasmine, but it does have a little bit of freshness, and we also have a bit of ginger for interest. So what we're getting here is a party on your body. We're getting a party on your body, and it's a whole vibe. vibe. Now in the base, we have some sandalwood, we have some vanilla, we have some musk. Basically, what this is mostly doing is a mid-range heaviness in terms of the creaminess of the tuberose. We have some smoothing out from the vanilla, and we have that nice, fresh, bright, bitter orange in the opening, and the ginger that makes everything sparkle. This right here is a gem. Now, I got this for about $32, and that was a good buy for me. I have had no regrets as far as this fragrance, because every time I wear this, I feel good. Now, where do I wear this? This is a daytime fragrance on a cooler day, but it can also work as a nighttime fragrance because it is a very, sexy isn't the right word. There's something very sensual and soft and feminine about it. Like you almost want to be in a slip dress looking real cute while you're wearing this. It is beautiful, and you need to get into this one. Hugo Boss Deep Red. I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about the next one because it is such a classic that I think most people are aware of this one, have smelled it, and probably have very strong opinions about it one way or another, and it is Carolina Herrera's Good Girl. Now this is another beautiful tuberose fragrance that skews very powdery. So whereas we had citrus and tuberose before, what we have is like iris and tuberose in this, which give tuberose and powderiness. Now the combination of iris and tuberose is a classic because it brings together the creaminess of the tuberose and it kind of lightens the weight of it, because tuberose, because it's so creamy and heavy, can sit on the skin in a way that makes it like not the best for summer. It can make it weigh down a bit, and one of the things that iris does, cashmere does this, heliotrope maybe overdoes this, is that it adds a bit of like lightness to the fragrance, so we get all of these wonderful elements of the tuberose without it going overboard, and it kind of wafting around us and creating this beautiful airy scent bubble that brings together the sweet creaminess of the tuberose, some beautiful fruit like pear with that wonderful iris. So I know people think of this fragrance as basic because everybody has tried Carolina Herrera's Good Girl, but there's a reason so many people love this one and think of it as such a gem, and it's because it is universally flattering, and I am absolutely obsessed with this. It's always going to be in my collection. Side story, I just tried Good Girl blush. I need it. I want it. It's so good. And I'm usually like, yeah, Good Girl, the original over all the others. Even though I like the others, this one is the tried and true one. But that Good Girl blush is coming for this one. It has like a coolness, almost like, I've gone off topic, almost like, I don't know, sorbet or something, has like this coldness to it that I find really intoxicating. But back to this one, the tuberose, the beauty with the iris. So if you like a more powdery scent, which is again not for everybody, then this is a whole vibe. Now if you don't like a powdery one, the next one might more be your vibe. I want to thank Jeanique, who commented on my Sephora wishlist video about how much she loves tuberose as much as I do, and whether I'd be willing to do a tuberose focused perfume video, and here we are. So thank you for recommending that I do this video because this has been a lot of fun and I hope you enjoy it. You've seen me talk about this fragrance recently. Hello. It's this guy. It is Washwashah from Lattafa. I recently hauled this in my Arabian perfume haul that I recently posted and enjoyed doing, and here we are again. This is a tuberose body and I love her. So this is tuberose with pink pepper, raspberry, some tonka beans, some musk, and some vanilla. What more can you ask for? Doesn't that sound perfect? Tuberose, pink pepper, raspberry, tonka bean, and vanilla. What more do you want? I don't know. If you want more than that, you want too much, because this is a whole vibe. Now, like I talked about in the last fragrance, we have a lot of powderiness with Good Girl, or we might have a bit more freshness because there's jasmine or citrus. This one is just, it leans into the heaviness and the thickness of the tuberose, It leans into sweet fruit with that raspberry. We get a little bit of just a va-va voom and sprinkle right on top with the pink pepper, and the tonka and the vanilla just round things out, make it smoother, make it better, make it more delicious, brings it into this gourmand direction, and it is beautiful. I'm obsessed. I love this. You need to know about it. Washwashah. If you love tuberose and you're looking in the Arabian world for something that's affordable and stunning and beautiful, and this I bought for like $30. Like, this is so affordable for 100 mils. Excuse me. It lasts really long. This has been on my perfume tray. Check out that video. This has been on my perfume tray for the month of April as a daytime/work time fragrance, and it has been putting in work. Like, I just got it and it's already doing things. I love this. I need you to know about it. Tuberose in a bottle. This Arabian fragrance is such a gem, and you're welcome. I hope you enjoy it if you end up picking this up or not. I don't know. So I won't spend too long on this next one, because in my last video, originals versus flankers, I talked about 2 of the fragrances in this line at length about how much I love the tuberose that is tuberosing in those 2. So it is My Way Floral. No, for a long time, this was my favorite of the line. I don't know if it still is. I think it might still be my favorite of the line. And I'm going to tell you why I'm so into this one and why it's maybe not everybody's favorite. So it might not be your favorite. So let's talk about it. And if you want some more information on the other 2 in the line, My Way and My Way Intense, check out that video to listen to a review and what the differences are between the 2. So this is a very green opening. I love a green scent. Love it. So this is a very green opening. We have green mandarin. So not that sweet, sticky mandarin opening. We have green mandarin plus bitter orange plus neroli. We have a lot of greenness in the opening, which is not for everybody, but for me, it's for me. It's for me. And in the mid, we have Indian tuberose, which is this very indolic tuberose. And no, we know that indolic usually means it gets into this almost fecal direction, meaning this is kind of, it smells spoiled almost, and it heads in that direction in a very real way. Now, what is interesting about this one is that the texture doesn't give heavy. Now, a lot of times when you're heading in this like really indolic area, we get this very heavy, like it feels weighed down. That's how the fragrance reads, as very weighed down. This reads very light and spring-like, which I feel like it's a marvel, right? I feel like it's a marvel. Plus we have some bourbon vanilla here, so we get a little booziness from that. And we get a little bit of creaminess, but again, the fragrance doesn't feel heavy. Like, this is the epitome of spring and summer fragrance because of that sharp greenness, that little bit of citrus. We get this lighter tuberose that is still very sweet, and this very sweet, heavy, boozy vanilla all together to create what I think is an ultra feminine fragrance. Like, I wouldn't say, okay, this is the sexiest, but there's something about this that feels really soft, feminine, and sophisticated. There's a real balance to this fragrance that I really, really enjoy. And so for a long time in this entire line, My Way, and times my sisters, she loved My Way. I loved My Way Floral to the nth degree, and I still do. That opening is beautiful, and this is going to be perfect for the month of May because of how fresh it is, but it still has that sweetness to it that is so typical of the My Way line. So get into this one. If you found that, say, My Way Intense was just too heavy and like weighed you down a bit, or it was too wintry, this is a spring summer version that I think is a whole vibe. I wanted to include at least one celebrity fragrance in here because very often the celebrity fragrances are doing tuberoses so well. We usually have a wide enough selection of them that you must be able to find something you enjoy and love at an affordable price. Now, I almost went with the tried and true one, Rihanna's Rebel Fleur, which mixes heavy, thick, creamy coconut with heavy, thick, creamy tuberose, and it makes for a beautiful fall-winter fragrance that sits on the skin in a very deliberate way. But I wanted to introduce you to something a little different, that gives a different energy, a different vibe, but is still very much a beautiful tuberose fragrance that deserves our attention and love, and it's this guy. Now, it is Mariah Carey's Forever. Look at her. Isn't it giving Art Deco? It's beautiful. I love this bottle. I love this fragrance, and it is a green tuberose fragrance. Now, here's the thing. You get all of the thick creaminess of tuberose, without the sweetness. Instead, we have this bright green citrus in the opening. We have a lot of green notes that read almost like tea-like notes, almost like chamomile tea. So soft herbal, nothing too pronounced, not like cut grass green. There's also a slightly dirty patchouli in the base that gives it a lot of longevity. But the tuberose in here is the very real star of this fragrance, because we somehow managed to get all of the texture of tuberose without any of that indolic sweetness out of the tuberose or anything that heads in a fruity direction. What we have is something fresh and easy that would be great for like a nighttime vacation sort of evening, right? Something where you want to get dressed up, you want to feel sophisticated, you want something that's going to sit on the skin on a cooler night, but nothing too overly sweet, nothing too overly in your face, nothing that is going to be too aggressive. This gives all of that. Whenever I want the heft of tuberose with green freshness, this right here is my go-to, and it is a lovely one. It is a beautiful fragrance. Now, I had worn this for a while and then kind of got into more sweet tuberose fragrances and had not replaced this bottle. And recently I rebought it and I was like, yeah, I get it. I get why I love this for such a long time. So if, for example, you are more into fragrances like Burberry Touch or Chloe Nomad, these crisper, greener fragrances that are very fresh and very jasmine heavy, very light in terms of texture, you like those smells, but you could appreciate something a little bit heavier that sits on the skin in a more creamy way. If you like the marriage of the two, then Mariah Carey's Forever does that in a beautiful way for about $30. Like, the price on this fragrance is magnificent for what you're getting. I know people give celebrity fragrances a hard time for being basic, but this is not basic. This is a choice, right? They took this in a different direction. For the most part, when you want to get a tuberose fragrance, you're looking for that sweetness that always comes with it, and this does not have that. It's like buying soda water, right? Like, you get all of the texture and wonderfulness of the bubbles without any of the sweetness, and that in itself is a whole vibe. So yeah, get into this one, Mariah Carey's Forever, a beautiful tuberose gem. I have one last one here for you, and some of you are going to be like, Jeanique, didn't you just haul that? How are you obsessed already? I am. I make no apologies. I said it in the last video and I'm saying it again. It's Khamrah. It's Khamrah from Lattafa. Now, I don't know if you have been considering this fragrance and you've decided, I want to get it because it might be too spicy for me, it might not be my vibe. I totally get it. I get it. This on paper is not a fragrance I would necessarily love, right? Because it has all of these warm spices, nutmeg, cinnamon, that I don't tend to go for. I don't necessarily want to smell like, but the idea of having a very thick tuberose won me over, and the tuberose is tuberosing in this. Now, I wouldn't say it is the star player. I would say that it is acting in tandem with these other notes. There are these really beautiful gourmand elements. The vanilla in here is the star player in this. The spices add to the gourmandness of it, where it smells like you're baking in a kitchen or you're making a beautiful drink. But the tuberose here adds a whole bunch of texture and that signature smell that is absolutely lovely. And I will say, I love this. Now, here's the thing. How I store my fragrances is I have my dresser, I have my tray for the month, and I have my fragrances that sort of stay in rotation on my dresser no matter what, because I might want to pull for it even if it's not on my tray for the month, because it might be the right fragrance for the occasion type deal. And this is one of those fragrances that got bumped up to the dresser and some things got pulled off the dresser. Things that I love, things that I enjoy, but this one is so special. It needs to be in arm's reach at all time, and you need to know about it. It's Khamrah from Lattafa. It's not overhyped. It's reasonably hyped. Every time I walk past Deep Red, I have to like spray myself down with it because it is so addictive. It's like that right amount, like right middle ground between sweet, a little bit green, a little bit fresh, a little bit thick, a little bit light. Like, it's just a nice medium of everything, right? Like, Hugo Boss did this. Hugo Boss did this. Get into this one. It is criminally underrated. Like, there's some tuberose fragrances that everybody knows and love. My Way. My Way. I look at you. I see you. My Way. Everybody knows about My Way. Everybody loves My Way. Nobody, it's not in contention. But no one talks about Deep Red. What do you think of these picks? Do you think they're any good? Do you think they're a vibe? Do you think my description was completely off the mark? If so, let me know down in the comment section. Share it with everyone so we have a different perspective on everything. We'd love to hear it. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this one, check out my last video on originals versus flankers, where I compare fragrances, my collections, to other fragrances in the same line, sharing what they have in common, what they have that are different, and which one I would pick for my collection if I had to choose between the two. Thanks again for being here, for showing me a little bit of love. If you haven't done so already, like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, show me you are here. I would really appreciate it. Again, I am Jeanique, and I love tuberose so much, and I'm happy to share that with you. Bye, y'all.
See, you've been on the mind.